on, you guys? It's that time of the year again where shopping for gifts is just right around the corner. Now, whether you're shopping for yourself or for someone else, these are going to be some iPad essentials that I highly recommend that you get, because when I went out and bought these myself, these solved all of the issues that I had with my iPad Air 4. Now, if you live in the US, you probably will be seeing a lot of deals for these in stores such as Best Buy and Amazon. But if you live outside the US and you don't have access to these stores or the deals, I highly encourage that you go ahead and go out and you buy refurbished or used products, just because you get the same exact experience for a little bit less. Now, the first accessory that I highly recommend you get is going to be a keyboard for the iPad. Now, I don't know how long you've had an iPad or if you're barely getting an iPad, but let me tell you, I owned the iPad without a keyboard for about 2 months, and typing on it was just horrendous. You can't get your fingers around. At first, I thought it's going to be like a phone, like a tablet, like a small Note, like a Samsung Note, where you can go ahead and still use both fingers and type. But on the iPad Air 4, you can't, because the screen is way too large. Now, this rendered my iPad practically unusable just because I couldn't really type on it, and I was only using it mostly for YouTube and Instagram. But when I switched over to getting rid of my MacBook Pro and only using a Mac Mini, and I wanted to use this iPad Air 4 as my main setup or my mobile setup, I went out and I bought a Magic Keyboard. Now, I highly recommend you buy your keyboard straight from the Apple Store, whether it's a Folio or the Magic Keyboard or any of the Logitech ones they have. This just guarantees that it's compatible with the iPad you have, as well as most of the time it's going to attach straight to the iPad rather than being a separate keyboard that you have to hook up via Bluetooth. Now, having that feature that attaches to the iPad itself honestly is a great plus, only because then you don't forget about the keyboard and you don't have to go into Bluetooth and hook it up and all of that stuff. Now, I use the Magic Keyboard because I like the way it attaches, and it also looks pretty neat and works better than the Folio, which is the other keyboard that I tried. Now, they both attached magnetically to the back of the iPad Air 4, but like I said, the Magic Keyboard just was better for typing on your lap, just because it stood up by itself, and the magnetic way it stood, or the slant, was a better angle than having to lean it up against the keyboard itself. Now, with the Magic Keyboard, I also have the addition of another USB-C port, which goes ahead and hooks it up directly via that magnetic attachment. And I really like this because I like charging my iPad, and then if I ever need to plug in any extra accessory, like one that I will be talking about later, I can go ahead and use both of the things at the same time without needing to have an external dock that has availability for multiple ports. Now, the second accessory, which also attaches magnetically to my iPad, is the Apple Pencil 2nd generation. Now, this is one of the main things that I think you should buy, especially if you are a creative that's using the iPad either to draw, photo edit, or you're a student that's going to be writing a lot of handwritten notes. Now, as far as styluses go, again, this is one that works really well with the iPad, mostly because it was made by Apple itself, so it guarantees compatibility and ease of use. Now, if you're not a creative and you don't really draw, or you're not really using it and you just want a stylus to navigate the iPad itself, you might be able to look somewhere else, find a little cheaper one. That way you don't spend over $100 on something that you're not really going to be using. Now, if you are a creative that uses it for Photoshop or for photo editing, you can go ahead and use this, and it works really great. I use mine with Affinity Photo to edit my photos, as well as then switch over and go ahead and use that pixel editor to go ahead and draw some stuff on my photo. It does also include pressure sensitivity, which is great for people that like to draw and you like to have, with one stroke, have either a thin line or a darker line. Now, if you are a student, this is also great for handwritten notes. I use mine paired along with Apple Notes because, again, I'm staying within the Apple ecosystem to guarantee that everything is compatible and works great. I use mine to handwrite notes, and then it also has a pixel eraser, which allows it to be more like a normal eraser, where as soon as you erase, it erases that single line rather than erasing objects all at once. Now, there are little small features with the Apple Pencil paired along with Apple Notes, such as bringing a little small note as soon as you pull up from the corner, or when the iPad is off and as soon as you start touching the screen of the iPad with the Apple Pencil, it will bring up a quick note, which I think is awesome. Again, this is just a small feature that comes when you have an Apple product paired with Apple software. Now, like I mentioned at the beginning, this pencil also attaches to the iPad magnetically through the side, just like the Magic Keyboard. Unfortunately, the magnets aren't as strong as I would want them to be. It usually isn't a problem when I'm putting it into the backpack or carrying it around, but there's been times where I'm picking it up or when I'm setting it down and then you just kind of pass and you touch the Apple Pencil. There's times where it's just falling off, and this just can make you lose the pencil at some point. But like I said, as you're putting it into the backpack, and now it doesn't cause too much trouble. Now, the third accessory pairs really well with the Apple Pencil, and it's a matte screen protector or paper-like screen protector for the iPad. Now, let me tell you, getting this matte screen protector is really life-changing. I used to have a tempered glass screen protector like a month ago, and ever since I made the switch, I have been loving it. This makes your iPad feel more like you're writing on a paper rather than writing on glass, which is really great, especially because of the pencil tip. It really slides easily on the glass, which made me kind of slur my words or be writing in cursive, which also messed up whenever I wanted to finish a stroke on the pencil. It just kind of carried over and it would do just a little more, which was honestly really upsetting and frustrating when I'm trying to be accurate when editing a photo. I bought this screen protector off of Amazon for about $10, and it fits the iPad really well and it works great, and I like the feel of it. There are other more expensive ones such as Paperlike, that's the name brand one. I'm not sure if there's too much of a difference. I haven't tried that product, but as far as I can tell, they're all matte screen protectors and they all work just the same. Do be aware though, if you're using a matte screen protector, because it is a little bit rougher like paper and the Apple Pencil tip is a little bit more plasticky, it can start to shave down if you're pressing too hard and over time. Like I mentioned, I've only had mine for about a month, so I haven't really experienced this, but there are some Amazon reviews that say that over time it can go ahead and just start rubbing it down. But remember, there's also the option of buying extra pencil tips so that it's not going to ruin your pencil for good. Now, the last accessory that I think it's an essential for you to get the most out of your iPad is a USB-C dock. Now, like I mentioned before, my Magic Keyboard also comes with another USB-C port, which I use to hook up external stuff. Usually it's just hooking up my hard drive, which is going to help me get more photos and be able to get a little bit more storage whenever I'm recording videos and I need stuff to be put away rather than just keeping everything backed up onto my iPad. You can also buy a USB-C dock that plugs into your iPad so you can get more storage and more ports if you don't have a Magic Keyboard or if you need more than 2 USB-C ports. I don't own a docking station only because my iPad Air is only my mobile setup whenever I'm editing photos or taking it on the go. But my main setup is my Mac Mini, which is back there. That's where I do most of my work, which is video editing. And then that's where I make my designs for my skins, as well as running my website. Now, because I have that Mac Mini, that's what I use to hook up everything else, such as the monitor, any external hard drives, and also plugging in the camera so that I can get the photos off of the camera and into the Mac. Another plus of owning all Apple products is that once I pass all the photos and videos to the Mac Mini, I can just simply airdrop them straight to my iPad and continue any work I was doing on the Mac Mini on the iPad wherever I go. If you are using the iPad as your main workstation wherever you go, I highly recommend you get a USB-C dock just so you can go ahead and hook up things such as SSDs, hard drives, other little micro SD cards, and also plug it into a monitor just so you have a bigger screen real estate and work on a bigger screen. These are all the essentials that I think you need to get for yourself or a family member on this holiday season, just because it's going to make your experience with the iPad just a whole lot better. Like I mentioned before, I use my iPad mostly as my main setup on the go, not really as my main setup for a desk. So I don't have that last part, but I do own all of the other accessories and I use them on a regular basis. If you are on a budget and can't buy all of these, I do recommend that you buy a keyboard for it, just because it will make that experience of typing and navigating around a whole lot better. Like I mentioned, I do recommend that you buy it from Apple, or at least one that's guaranteed to work with the iPad. That way you don't have to be hooking up via Bluetooth and then losing connection, or run the risk that it doesn't hook up directly to the iPad itself. As a creative, I use my iPad mainly to edit photos, write notes, as well as schedule all of my posts to Instagram. But I would like to know what you guys are using your iPad for. Let me know down in the comments what is the one main use that you're using your iPad at home for. As always, thank you guys for sticking around to the end, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.